All right, welcome. Good to geek out. Good place to go to geek out. Today we geek out about Invincible, episode 7 called We Need to Talk. There's a lot to talk about. Editor San Antonio here with a bunch of my boys. Two that haven't even been on our Invincible chats yet. What up, fellas? Who's who?
What up, Ed? Eduardo Gadet. Hey, a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about in this episode. Very deep. Glad to be here with my friends and glad to geek out.
Oh, so I go? Okay, yeah. Hi, Kenny. Glad to be here, first timer. Glad to geek out and talk about this episode. Yeah, a whole lot to talk about.
This
Boba
your boy.
Fresh. Cyclops is garbage.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this your boy Jay. Cyclops is not a cuck. He is a victim. All right. He is the best damn X-Man ever from Los Angeles, California.
That might be the best intro I've seen in a minute. All right. Episode 7 kind of opens up. What's it called? We Need to Talk. Broken trust, I feel, is the theme of this whole episode. There's a lot of backpedaling and a lot of explaining and a lot of things that try to get made, quote unquote, good. Cold open, Debbie alone in the bed. You think she's in the home alone, looks at the punch in the wall, swears she's home alone. She turns the corner and there's creepy Omni-Man looking out the window for God knows how long, probably since last night. What you guys think about that open? Any comments?
Um, Kind of reminds me of like watching like you ever seen the movie What's Love Got to Do with It when Ike Turner showed up out of nowhere? You know what's gonna happen. you like she's gonna catch a beating. I'm like, she'll get her ass beat. She'll get a black eye, or worse. I just mind you, I've never watched I've never read the Invincible comics, so I went into this kind of dry. So my whole thought process was, is he going to kill her at any point? Like, what's stopping him from killing her? Like, really? Like, he has no compunction about killing anybody else, so why not kill his wife?
And so that goes to something that we've been talking about earlier in the season. She's his kryptonite. She is the only thing on Earth he cares about and will actually not kill. He loves her more than anything, and his people aren't supposed to love. As a Vitramite, he's not supposed to. As his son is confusing him. His son isn't just the average, I'm a teenager, like I don't get my kid. He's like, we literally don't do this. Like he tells Cecil, he's like, no, teenagers don't act out. It's like, well, your kid's kind of human. Like you gotta accept that. So I think that they do a good job. Like, again, I looked at it, I wouldn't say so much like Superman staring at a piece of kryptonite per se, but like I think he's really perplexed on like how he goes forward, because again, I think he thinks that she was going to be fucking on board with this from the get-go, and he's super confused that she ain't.
Super confused.
Yeah,
No,
and
I get what you're saying. I feel like it's analogous to Vegeta and Bulma hooking up
mhm.
eventually. It's kind of like going that way. But Lucy, Amber and Mark at odds. What did you
Oh
think
boy.
about that, or about Adam Eve and her
Oh, well,
bliss?
listening to this, like I think this episode really highlights the complexities of human emotional relationships, where you are in love with somebody and then you get in conflict with them and you're like, oh, I loved you so much, but now you make me so angry at the same time, and how some of these things you get so intertwined with each other's emotions, and like, oh, you're not seeing my perspective, you're not seeing my perspective. How have we ever been together this long, and you don't know how I truly feel, and they're getting really upset about this, and not just on Omni-Man and his wife, but on on Adam and Eve and his and his girls. Like, oh, it's a emotional breakdown episode on multiple levels, and and even with what's his name, making plans like, oh, we need a backup, like Omni-Man. Somebody help me
Cecil?
with
Cecil?
yeah, okay. Cecil,
Yeah.
the CIA guy. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, oh, we need a backup for our backup plan because this is going to go south real quick.
I have to say, I
And
love
he's
how his backup plans would fail.
kind of like
fail
an
well.
objective outside picture of all this stuff. But
You gotta
hey,
love
when
the
superheroes get emotional, shit goes bad.
Okay, let's move on to Adam Eve in her life. Adam Eve, I don't know if you noticed, her life is beautiful compared to everyone else's at this point. And if you notice, her mug says TT on it, which means that Team has merch.
Mm.
That's a weird reality. They're pimping teams or they're pimping themselves. Teen Titans never had that. But then that made me question something else. Watching her wake up in the morning, what are Adam Eve's powers?
Wherever she wants her to be.
She's Molecule Man.
That's kind of what I thought it was. Okay.
I feel like she is like wherever she wants her to be. Like she do whatever hell she feels like doing at that time, but it pertains to her. What she feels like it.
The Molecule Man.
But there's a
Molecule
difference
Man.
between doing that as a genie and magical and doing that by rearranging things on a molecular level.
Or
which is
being
what,
a Franklin Richards.
exactly. I change reality. Or Legion, I guess.
Okay.
Legion. Yeah.
Legion. Oh yeah, dude, don't. We're not gonna go there.
I think out of this whole intro, like we've kind of covered already, we still got to like move forward. The reveal of the cloaked agents always inside of Omni-Man's house, which I've read online is very questionable whether or not he knew they were there at all times. Because there's certain times where where Debbie confronts him and he kind of looks around and then flies off. And this kind of happened the same way. And so, like, kind of to Kenny's point, like why he doesn't kill her. Partially it's because people are watching at all times, and I think he knows that, but he doesn't realize how close they are watching. So as soon as he realizes that first agent's there, you see how quickly he dispatches everything. I think the only thing he wasn't aware of was the safe house across the street. That was a surprise to him, but everything else I think he's kind of been aware of the whole time.
I loved how his contingency plans for Omni-Man were theoretical in nature. They were tested, but he stood by them. He's like, this is gonna work. It didn't work. Okay, this is gonna work. Does it work? This is gonna work. This is gonna work. Fuck.
Isn't that foreshadowing, Kenny?
No, I like how he talked.
Like this was foreshadowed. All those plans.
When he's talking to Omni-Man's wife, and he's like, "That's why I hate myself too."
Yeah.
Because he had the backup to the backup plan. He's like, "Yeah, we knew your son was the ultimate backup plan.
Yeah.
And I also might let him die too, but that's just who I am, and that's why I hate myself."
Lucy, why don't you give us your opinion of Robot at this point after the reveal about this?
The whole other side plot to what's going on. Yeah, just a really complex, really interesting way they wrote this show. You know, the new Guardians of the Globe, they're like, hey, yeah, just explain yourself. Why are you coming in here as a 15-year-old kid all of a sudden? And you think that's cool? And like, we're all gonna understand this? Like, pause the game here, homeboy. Like,
dude,
that whole dynamic and how they wrote that was really neat.
Did you realize he was Rexplode's clone when he walked in?
No, not until they said it.
Yeah, me neither. I was like, oh.
Yeah,
I noticed
either.
it. I noticed
I
it.
didn't notice it. I didn't notice it at all.
I think that the pull up of the garbage truck into the Mauler twins space was hella dope. And again, like the Mauler twins are who we meet first in this universe. So for them to have not just been a look at how tough the Guardians are example, were. They really made them an integral story. And like Lucy said, like this is the C plot line. Like this is a plot line off of the plot line. Like this is an off Broadway show. And it's super weird and interesting. And when he comes out with, he comes out basically looking Akira, like he's like, like all up in the tank and just like deformed and morphed.
Wait, start the reactor.
Yeah, I thought he was Quoto or Master Blaster. Exactly. If they had a kid.
Yeah. And I just thought that was dope. He's like, I didn't design this thing to be opened ever. So yeah, there's no latch here, and just like the ooze coming out, but the part of the mind transfer of them not knowing like who's who and laying over each other and giving us the real great reasons for the Mahler twins having their confusion, and then him showing up with the, well, I noticed that Monster Girl really was kind of into Rex. And he's like, what? I don't even know how to feel about that. And as fucked up as Rex is, he is a well-written, funny character without just like being like slapstick funny. Like, he's good. It was great.
Interesting thing about Robot too is like, I find it interesting now, he is now a human who has to try to develop human emotions. He's been a robot for so long. And it's kind of weird to see how he tries to fit into the world, because with the whole thing with Monster Girl, he thinks she has feelings for Rex Explosion. Like, he doesn't know for sure. He didn't get with her though.
But to Kenny's point about him being a robot for so long and not really having true like emotions, the fact that he thought they were going to accept what he did and not even think twice about it, he has no
social awareness of what's going on. He's almost autistic in a way. He has no idea. He can't read the room.
Yeah, socially
awkward. Yeah.
But give him credit for telling the truth, though. At least that.
Yeah.
Well, but that goes to Kenny's point about him seeming autistic or maybe even having Asperger's. Like, he has to tell the truth. Like, as soon as the Mahler twins did his thing, he's like, okay, now you're going in.
There was no reason for him to double cross him. He did it because I'm gonna arrest you. Like, you're a criminal.
Yes. Like, so beyond these characters, let's talk about Mark's best friend William. Lucy, I don't think you've talked about William yet. He's a very good Jiminy Cricket type character. What do you think about his multiple comments during this episode?
No, I think William is a great conscience, and keep it like as he finds out he's invincible. Like, William's keeping him human. You know, he's like, hey, you're my friend, and that. Oh, I don't want to get into the next episode, but you know, like Invincible is drawn like he is from Earth. And then they have this conflict later on. So I think they're important. Every character in this series is very important for their own reason. Every main character is anger, is confusion, is love. You know, it's very well written, and I think he's a conscience to Invincible.
I agree with you, Lucy. I think in this episode that when Omni-Man finds William's car, like he's looking for Invincible, and he just like comes down and he just like puts his hand through the roof. And he's just like, all right, where is he? He's like, okay, Mr. Grayson. Omni-Man. Like, there's a great bit of human element in there. And Lucy, you're 100% right. Like, in the sense of like him being consciousness, like it's not that he's funny or fun. Like yes, he plays a comedy role, but there's a certain heart that he has in the show that isn't trying to be a hero's heart or a noble heart or anything. Like, he's along for the ride. And he's giving the right amount of enthusiasm for finding out that your best friend is fucking a superhero. If I found out that Lucy was a superhero for fucking in 12th grade and he's fucking known it, like, it's, I think they do real good job at real relationships, and that's kind of where the show shines.
Perfect example is when he's like, "Hey, can you take me flying real quick?" But I do want to talk about Debbie being in the GDA. Jay, I feel like you have a lot to say about Debbie's current situation.
Well, let me speak on the whole situation as far as William first. As far as William goes, he's a real friend. I mean, he's not an enabler. He's the type of friend that, you know, that Mark needs. And sometimes, you know, when we have people that are, you know, sometimes we have people that are friends that are not really friends. They're called enablers. And, you know, sometimes they do stuff and, you know, they don't have anyone to check them. And because they don't have anybody to check them, because they don't have anybody to check them.
You are literally describing Ed.
Ed.
Ed is an enabler. Ed knows he's an enabler.
No, Ed, no. Ed is different. Ed just instigates just for fun. He does that. But anyway, no, an enabler like William is not. Even when Mark got out the car, you can tell like he was like, you know what, you're right. Well, I don't want to talk to you right now. And it was just some heavy dose of stuff that he didn't need. He didn't need to hear it. He didn't want to hear it. It was some stuff that he didn't want to hear, but he needed to hear it.
So
Did you
that makes
catch
it tough.
Did you catch the conversation? Pay more attention to the conversation when Cecil was trying to talk to Omni-Man. I mean, I thought that was a very powerful conversation right there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
They worked together for years. Like they have a working relationship. It's like this is your coworker, your colleague. You know, they probably had spent many a nights kicking back, drinking beers after taking down a giant fucking octopus.
And then he tried to play the moral high ground, saying, "Don't speak her name." Oh, okay. You don't want me to speak her name, but you can sit there and lie to your family every day. And see, that's the point where Cecil is the definition, and I relate to this the most. Sometimes you can't do things the hero way. Sometimes you got to be fucked up and cold for the right reasons. For the right reasons, and they may say it's messed up, but it gets the job done, which is why you don't
have a face like Cecil and not be all cheery and sunshine and rainbows. You gotta be a little cold-hearted.
Exactly.
You with a face like that.
Cold-hearted.
Well, I'm gonna say on the opposite side of what you guys are talking about, the Adam Eve conversation with Mark is very different. I think that Mark Invincible is a little bit more on your side, and not just like by like not doing things, by being ignorant of things and not paying attention, that you'll be better off. But Adam Eve very, very bluntly tells him, and I think this is what Jay talked about in earlier episodes about how Amber and Mark are not good, but Adam Eve and Invincible are, because she makes him a better person. They're a better couple per se.
Well, we have to cover the Mahler twins getting like, we're like, well, what did Robot give the Mahler twins? And then and then you see Immortal Man.
Bringing back the Immortal. Oh, shit.
What a fun. And he just goes.
Now, the Mahler twins had the backup to their backup, and it didn't back them up.
Yeah.
No. But I have to say that was kind of funny how they thought, oh, this plan's going to work. And it didn't work. Like, this whole episode was like, everybody had plans, and they didn't work.
No, good point. Yeah, good point. We all and that's relationships. Like, I think this relationship is going to go this way, but when somebody else's life and emotions is involved, like, you don't have control over that, and then it turns your world upside down.
Like,
so during this fight, like Adam Eve obviously listens to what is recommended to her by Mark's mom, flies back to the Guardians or to safety, and watching Mark fight with his dad, it's about time we team up, I think is the joke. Just like earlier in the episode, we see Omni-Man standing looking out the window, which is him obviously rethinking his mentality, this planet, his wife, his kid, and what he needs to do. Here you get to see another side of him, because he's obviously acting on the things that he's thought of earlier. He's protecting and looking out for his son the whole fucking time.
It was really cool about that fight scene, because even though we as the audience knew that Omni-Man was messed up, but if you get that one moment for me when you see them fighting together, you think, so maybe Omni-Man might have a change of heart, realize, right alongside my son, it filled me with a new sense of purpose. And nope, that was a lie.
Until you killed Immortal, and then that's when you feel like, no, he ain't. He's still the same Omni-Man. It's like Ed said.
He's on a mission.
It's like Ed's point when he brought up Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. It's exactly that. I mean, except that Invincible ain't no Goku to knock his ass back into. I doubt that. Or he's supposed to be the Goku.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. But
I do think it's also important to note that this whole fight is televised. So this is the first time the planet gets to see Omni-Man be the real Omni-Man at the same time as his wife does, as his son does. Like, this is big
You
reveal.
really see him
And I
unhinged.
assume the next episode we're gonna have to deal with that. But just watching that moment where everyone is watching it, like the whole world stops, literally. And now you got your son and your daughter to deal with it. I mean,
the
mom.
whole world shares Mark's disbelief as he sees it when he sees his own dad kill the immortal. He's like, "What the shit?" And the whole world's like, "What the shit?" And we as the audience is like, "I told you so. I told you, motherfucking crazy."
I mean, truth be told, if someone eye gouged me, I'd try to rip them in half too. On that note, all right, man. Great episode. Can't wait for the finale. I really can't wait. Like, I hope we do it. Editor San Antonio. If you enjoyed, learned something new, subscribe. Check us out. We'll teach you some shit. Peace.
Rob Lucy, Phoenix, Oregon. Can't wait to get into the final of Invincible. Looking forward to it.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. Whoops. Oh, sorry, Kenny Miller, Pomona, California. Yeah, episode 8, it goes down. I can't wait to talk about it either if I'm here. Finger guns.
Boba Fresh, San Francisco. My only regret was that Omni-Man didn't rip Cyclops in half.
This is Jay. Can I please get an optic blast? Cyclops is the superior X-Men inside the whole entire team. And he will kill Omni-Man. Los Angeles.